As more migrants come to Denver, Denver's mayor is taking his plea to a national audience.
This is a national problem.
Other cities are helping relieve the strain on Denver, and a church opens its doors to help migrants. The state wants to give its website a facelift at a cost of $2 million to taxpayers. The state says it's a matter of security. And a good news filled with holiday cheer.
My good news is I have a baby sister.
Grab your family and cuddle up. This is next. What's in a name? For the state of Colorado, the answer is apparently $2 million of your tax dollars. $2 million for 3 letters in a new domain name for the state's website. Cole Sullivan explains why it costs so much.
If you want to enjoy the warmer weather this weekend, you might look up a hiking map at a Colorado state park. The official site is cpw.state.co.us. It's a mouthful, but that's not why the state wants to change it.
Here we have a domain, the .us's, that might not be, in general, aren't as closely controlled as the .gov's are.
The governor's office wants to finish switching all state websites and official emails to end in .gov. It's not a vanity project. They call it a serious security risk. Someone could spoof a fake state site ending in .us to scam people who think it's the real deal.
People will click in links in texts, in links in email that will take them to a site that looks right but isn't.
Steve Beatty teaches computer science at MSU Denver. He says spoofing a .gov site is a lot harder.
It's just that the GOVs probably are more strictly regulated, and so we can place a certain amount additional trust into the .gov domains.
Only 7 states haven't made the switch to .gov, and that's caused problems in Colorado. State officials cannot participate in federal security briefings, for example, because they can't register without a .gov email address. But it's not as easy as just changing the name.
So it's not only just making sure that all of the domain names get switched, but we need to test them all. We need to make sure that they all still work for everybody in all of the browsers, on all of the phones, on all of the sites, and which is an extensive amount of work.
The governor's office wants $2 million to do all that work, to make all those changes, and that cybersecurity expert says it sounds like a good idea to him. Not because you might get the wrong hiking map from a fake site this weekend, because at some point you're going to log on to a government site to pay your taxes or try to register your car. You want to be sure it's the real deal, Steve.
Yeah, I feel like we just managed this in fishing training the other day. It's so easy to spoof a URL by just like a dash or a 1 or a 2. This hopefully will help clear it up.
Exactly, and it's going to be a change that they can't just flip a switch. They have to change all these links, and then they have to leave up the old site for a while too, because some folks have it bookmarked or they're used to emailing an email address that has the old domain name in it. So it's going to be a long change and an expensive one too.
Yeah, it's not like they're just going to GoDaddy or something. Cole Sullivan, thank you. The final report from the committee investigating the January 6th insurrection points the finger at former President Donald Trump for his lies, which led far-right militants and conspiracy theorists to try to overthrow the government. The report's the culmination of months of testimony and investigating, which ended with the panel sending a criminal referral against Trump to the Justice Department. The report isn't surprising, but there are new details about John Eastman's ties to the attempted coup. John Eastman is a former CU visiting scholar who wrote the blueprint to throw out the 2020 election results. That report says there was a 23-minute call between Eastman and Trump. It was the same day Eastman wrote the memo explaining how to keep Trump in office. Each day we hear of more migrants coming to Denver. Another 168 arrived overnight. In the last 2 weeks, the city has helped nearly 1,800 people. The issue is getting more national attention now, and this morning, Denver Mayor Michael Hancock spoke on CNN about the need for more federal help and the strain it's putting on his city.
But we are certainly seeing proportionally a challenge in our resources. That becomes a real problem because we're beginning to have opportunity costs where we are taken away from other services that we are working to respond to in our cities. We want to be inclusive. We want to be open. We want to act humanely, but we need the federal government to assist us.
Now, with the new arrivals, Denver is using 130 more beds today compared to Thursday, now more than 1,100 in use. We now know some migrants are being sent to other cities along the Front Range. 57 migrants from Venezuela are getting help up in Larimer County. Larimer County's Office of Emergency Management says 2 churches and the Red Cross are sheltering migrants there. Pastor Eddie Hopkins at Peak Community Church in Fort Collins says his congregation is helping 15 migrants.
I had confidence in this city. Fort is in our name, shelter is in our name. And sure enough, this city was ready to shelter these folks. Some of them are escaping violence. Some of them are escaping other forms of abuse and oppression and things that I cannot imagine.
Pastor Hopkins says many of these migrants have never seen snow. Even though it was cold outside this week, they still enjoyed playing around in it. Migrants will stay in Larimer County for 7 to 10 days. Some will meet up with other family already in the States. Others will return to Denver. Millions of dollars will soon help address homelessness and housing affordability in Denver. It's part of the $1.7 trillion spending bill that Congress passed today. It also means the government will avoid another shutdown. $24 million will be allocated for several projects in Denver, among them building new apartments for low-income single parents, turning the Clarion Hotel in North Denver into housing for the homeless, money to support youth mental health treatment for low-income kids, and money to help Food Bank of the Rockies. With housing getting harder and harder to afford, voters may be asked once again to help pay for housing. There's a new effort to get this on the ballot, but we don't know who's behind it quite yet. If it's passed, the state would collect a fee from the buyer equal to 0.1% of a property sale. The money would go to a Colorado Attainable Housing Fund to help support building, maintaining, and buying attainable housing. Attainable housing is for people who make too much for subsidized affordable housing. It's estimated to raise about $70 million each year starting in 2024. This initiative is still going through the early stages, though. The state's title board made a few tweaks this week. If there are no major objections to it, it moves to the petition circulation phase. The initiative was filed by anonymous parties. We just know their attorneys because their names are on the paperwork, but at this point it's unclear who's pushing this effort. You may remember back in November, voters approved Prop 123, which would generate $290 million a year. It takes part of the state's income tax and puts it towards affordable housing. Now, during a brutally cold week, you all have stepped up to help Coloradans living in their cars. The effort has been astounding. Here's Kyle with an update.
There are Coloradans newly experiencing homelessness who have decided that they are going to try to rough it in their cars for a while, for a week or 2 weeks or a month, just enough to save a couple of paychecks for a rent deposit so that they can get back into a home. The nonprofit Colorado Safe Parking Initiative provides secured parking lots up and down the Front Range where people can park their cars at night as they live in them, have access to a bathroom, warm meals, as well as housing support and navigation to find them a new home to live in. Since Wednesday night, you have raised more than $100,000 to help this nonprofit expand its mission, keeping people safe as they go through that bridge period living in their cars trying to get back into housing. Scan the QR code on your screen or text the word thanks to 303-871-1491 to join me and thousands of other Coloradans in giving to the Colorado Safe Parking Initiative. We'd like to think that no Coloradan would ever live in their car, but we know that that is the reality, and this organization tries to make it as safe as possible.
Jeffco has a new plan to prevent fires, flooding, and drought caused by climate change. The county says not doing anything could cost billions. It's the Friday before Christmas. It's the Friday before Christmas, so your good news gets a holiday spin.
Santa baby, slip a sample under the tree for me.
While we love your good news, we can't help but like the holiday fails too, like a couple mistakes in the kitchen. Next. Jefferson County is worried climate change could cause up to $35 billion of damage over the next 3 decades in Jeffco. So leaders approved a plan to cut greenhouse gas emissions and to look at how climate change is affecting people disproportionately. The county's hazard mitigation plan says wildfires and flooding are the most frequent threats. They're worried that temps could make both of those worse. The county says it expects to experience $880 million in flooding and fire damage each year under a 2050 climate scenario. That adds up to $35 billion over the next 28 years. Leaders approved that plan this week with a focus on equity.
While we know everyone, 100% of everyone is being impacted by the negative effects of climate change, we know that the folks who are first impacted and most severely impacted are those who are least able to do anything about it. Inaction, not doing anything, is going to cost us a lot of money, lives, quality of life right here in Jefferson County.
The county wants to improve climate resilient construction, add more renewable energy, conserve water, and add more electric vehicles. The end goal, cut greenhouse gas emissions by 73% by 2035 based on 2015 levels. The State Department of Health says it has some work to do to address climate change. They got some ideas thanks to a statewide tour where they heard from Coloradans. The state shared new recommendations from that tour today, things like more education and outreach, telling people about the effects of climate change and what they can do to cut pollution and energy costs. The state also plans to focus more on environmental justice to help communities more affected by air pollution.
And here's a quick look at your forecast on this Friday evening. Very chilly, too. -1 degrees right now in the Denver metro region. Very chilly out towards the north and east, where there's still that wind chill warning in effect, or the wind chill advisory, I should say, in effect. HD Doppler radar showing clear skies for us right now. We're expecting the skies to remain clear. And we're even expecting a little bit of snow come late tonight into early tomorrow morning. Not for Denver, but for the mountains in the high country, mainly to the north and west. Steamboat Springs, I'm looking at you guys. I'll get to that in just a few moments. Overnight low temperatures, another very cold and dangerously cold night where you'll want to stay indoors. -3 degrees in Denver, -8 in Lyman. Let's take you through the next 24 to 48 hours where we are getting consistent snowfall to the north and west near Steamboat Springs. Sunday morning between the 8 and 9 o'clock hour, that's when we're expecting some more snow and even a little bit of that rainfall out towards the eastern plains. When it's all said and done, about 3 to 4 inches of snowfall by Saturday afternoon into Saturday evening for the Steamboat Springs area. Let's take a look at the 7-day forecast as we are expecting temperatures to rebound back into the upper 40s and lower 50s on Sunday and Monday, nearing 60 degrees on Tuesday.
So you know when temps hit historic levels, our weather team gets kind of nerdy with all the numbers. But our weather and poetry expert, Corey Reppenhagen, he gets reflective.
Corey Reppenhagen is on the Weather Beat.
Freeze for history, a mile-high polar express frosting holiday.
That was Corey Reppenhagen on the Weather Beat.
I'm snapping too. On this Friday, we're flashing back to 1983 thanks to a note from next viewer Richard. He reminded us of how a cold snap affected the Broncos, who were getting ready for a playoff game. The team moved practice to Currigan Hall, which was part of the original convention center. Yes, that's the team running plays there on the concrete. Hopefully they weren't playing full contact at the time. This happened during a brutal winter cold snap right before Christmas. The temps stayed below zero for almost 5 days. Broncos great Tom Jackson said that they were willing to practice anywhere as long as it was inside. Sounds about right. The Broncos played the Seahawks in the playoffs that weekend. It didn't go as well, but at least it wasn't because of a lack of practice, I guess. We're kind of used to that around here now. We don't talk about COVID as much lately, but because places around the country are seeing more activity, the federal government will once again give away at-home COVID tests for free. You just have to order those online. The tests will be dropped off in the mail. Denver's health department says COVID activity started increasing after Thanksgiving, and they're worried about that there may be more after Christmas and the New Year travel. We've seen positivity spike again over the last 2 months. Our weekly positivity rate was 12% in mid-November. It's been improving since then, now below 10%. While doctors are also worried about flu activity, strep, and RSV, there is some good news. Denver's health department says we're seeing a drop in RSV hospitalizations, but they expect RSV activity will remain high this winter. Santa helps deliver presents and our good news.
I'm happy that it's snowing to be able to enjoy the weather and also feel the love of comfort from strangers.
Our favorite Friday tradition is next. Joy, making us happy around here. Good news isn't just for Christmas. We've shared it here for the past 330 Fridays. Today, we headed to Denver's Five Points neighborhood for a toy giveaway to ask our favorite Friday question. What's your good news?
Hey, how are you? My good news is we have an abundance of beautiful weather here in Colorado. It truly feels and looks like Christmas.
Santa baby.
We're passing out gifts to all of the children in need across the city and county of Denver.
Slip a sable under the tree for me.
Kids are being able to see the diversity of a Santa Claus because some of them have never seen a Santa Claus that looks like them or in their neighborhood.
My good news is I have a baby sister.
There we go. Merry Christmas.
My good news is that, for one, I'm blessed and I'm alive, and second of all, to be able to have the love and the help from those in the community for my people. That's good news to me. That makes me feel good to be able to know that my children's going to have something to unwrap thanks to this situation right here.
I believe in good news. We are 2 years beyond the pandemic, so we're still here. Everyone that's watching this right now has lived through a pandemic. We're still here. And also the good news is that community is still resilient.
My good news is that I got a great new family for the New Year's, and we're sober and focused.
Next up, ho, ho, ho! Merry Christmas!
My good news is having family and friends.
My good news is I want to just say thank you and give my appreciation to Kuvo, the jazz station. They play my version, my recorded version of Santa Baby, and it makes me feel really special. Santa Baby, slip a sable under the tree for me. I've been an awful good girl, Santa Baby, and hurry down the chimney tonight.
We love seeing your holiday joy around here, but hearing your holiday fails, that may be a little bit more fun. We'll share a few and your feedback next. Holiday joy stuff is good stuff, but you've also been sending us your holiday fails. We love those as well. Like Joanne Moss in Steamboat Springs. She tried to make grandma's perfect pecan pie. Pecan, whatever you want to call it. Though this attempt, not so perfect. The pie jumped the pan, got a little burned, just a little bit. Don't fear though. Joanne says she'll salvage the burnt part by putting a little ice cream on it. Ice cream solves everything. Then there's this. 9 News political analyst Kelly Maher, who is fortunately doing fine after a kitchen mishap. She tweeted, "If you're watching all the people who look like their holidays are perfect on social media, just know that I just leaned over to smell a simmering pot and lit my hoodie string on fire in this, the year of our Lord, 2022. She followed up, also, fun fact, a hoodie string is basically a fuse to your face. So that's stressful. Hey, I hope you all have a wonderful holiday. If you get to celebrate with family, great. If you're working on the holiday, thanks for doing that. See you next time.